1250 and 94.5 FM.
Rob Thompson, Karl Schoening. Halftime.
It's halftime. Do not adjust your set. Welcome on to San Antonio's Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. The halftime brand new show here on a brand new network. Hosted by, he is Karl Schoening. I am Rob Thompson. For the next 2 hours, we endeavor to bring you what I like to call, Karl, restaurant quality radio. You ready for that?
You're going to have to define that for me.
It's something better than you could cook or I could cook. Somebody else is going to cook it, and it's going to be fantastic, brought to you piping hot and ready to eat. That's what my endeavor is. Karl Schoening sitting in for the next 2 hours. This is our show. This is your show. We want you to be a part of it. So lots of ways to join us as you head around to find something worth eating. First off, on our Twitter feed, he is at Karl ESPN. I am at Rob Thompson ESPN. James Pledger, sitting on the other side of the double pane glass in his comfort zone. Of course, he's always available. The Kielbasa Bacon phone lines are waiting on you. 656-3776, 656 ESPN. I know that you guys just tuned in to listen to Max. That's what Karl was looking for. We don't got Max. We got us. We'll get all of your Max Kellerman, all you can handle, all that he's got will come to you from noon or 2 till 4 as he leads into the Blitz that will be hosted by Jason Bennix today. Yes, we are pulling the curtain off of San Antonio Sports Star today. We're still part of ESPN, but we are getting started with a brand new all day long live and local attempt to keep you informed and entertained and talk specifically about sports that matter to us.
Yeah, halftime. It's halftime for the station as we have two shows that are on either side of this. It's halftime for a lot of people. It's your lunch break. We appreciate it if you're tuning into us while you're driving wherever you might be going for lunch. And overall halftime by the Yin Yang Twins, played before every Spurs game of the Tim Duncan era, it felt like. Brings back a lot of memories. So I liked the title and all of the things that come with it with the production effects.
Karl Schoening, brand new to the Star. We just brought him in. You might recognize the last name. Your dad has a bit of note here in San Antonio.
He has been doing the radio broadcasts for the Spurs since 2001. Have to think about it. It's been 20 years, yeah.
And you're part of that great generation. You're part of the generation of Spurs fans that doesn't really know average, doesn't really know bad, doesn't know rebuilding. You're part of a title questing generation that doesn't really get what it's like to rebuild and renew. We're going to talk a lot about the Spurs today, specifically Keldon. As Team USA concludes their pre-Olympic runoff and gets ready to head to Tokyo, Keldon Johnson certainly made a fair amount of news over the weekend, getting the start. Well, not getting the start, but getting more and more playing time, and certainly has showed well for Team USA. When you see Keldon, one of the great things about having Karl here is, Karl, you've done some work with the Austin Spurs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And you had a lot of opportunity to see our young guys grow into what they're becoming, and spent a lot of time around Keldon when he first arrived, and had a chance to see him kind of grow immediately. We'll talk about him in a bit, but I'm curious what when you first got a chance to see Keldon play in a game, what did you think? Did he set himself apart? Did he look like a guy that was going to be a star?
Just raw, contagious energy. Mm-hmm. And if you have that, that's a good thing to build on, because sometimes you can't teach that. That is a talent in itself. And you look at Keldon, he is a clay ball for Greg Popovich and the coaching staff to kind of do whatever they want with him. Small ball 4 is probably not his best position, but he filled a need by playing there. You could probably run him at the 3, the 2, maybe even point guard in a pinch if you really just let him say you can grab and go however you like. If you grab the rebound, you can push the break. Keldon can really do it all. His three-point shot has come along great. He's kind of working on ball handling and decision-making, and I think that that's how he progresses into that role as the guard forward instead of the small ball 4 where the Spurs have him and where he's kind of playing in this international game.
Trade rumors are rife. Jeff Garcia of the Spurs Zone posting a couple things this morning we're going to talk about in just a couple of minutes. The Celtics are certainly in the hunt for a point guard. The Spurs are in the hunt to improve a roster that's about to be decimated by free agency and just a retooling. What do the Celtics and the Spurs have in common, and is there a deal out there? We'll look very closely at that. We'll talk Dallas Cowboys here in about 30 minutes. Michael Irvin, speaking about the Cowboys as they prepare to head out to training camp, laid down, I think, what a lot of fans are thinking. If you are vaccinated, it's hard to comprehend for those that have gone out and gotten vaccinated why those that are waiting. And I don't want to get into the politics or the science of yes or no, but Michael Irvin laid it down as the Spurs, as the Cowboys sit as one of the NFL teams that has not reached that 85% threshold of complete vaccination to allow the teams to really get back to normal, to practice and gather with fewer protocols. Irvin called out the Cowboys. They haven't reached the threshold. And he says, if you're not vaccinated, then what's the point? You're not in it for a title.
Yeah, exactly. You look at the restrictions for the non-vaccinated players and coaching staff. They can't go out when you're in the city. You have to stay in a hotel before the games. You have to wear masks all around. You have to stay distant from the team. You're just adding so many more barriers, and which is already one of the toughest sports. You would think that after everything they went through last year, all of the ridiculous rules that we've heard them implement for their safety, obviously, there would be a lot more teams that hit that 85% vaccinated threshold. But I think we were talking about this before. You said 13 teams. That's kind of depressing to me. Only 13 of 32 teams are at that 85% threshold.
Because if you're chasing a title, as Irvin said, this isn't the NBA. 2 weeks is a season. You lose your primary player for 2 weeks, maybe 3 games. Even with 17, coming back from that could be absolutely impossible. The Cowboys are not at that threshold. They're heading into California where that Delta is spiking. Certainly protocols will be followed, but life would get so much easier when everyone is vaccinated or the threshold is met. And Michael Irvin calling out those that have not been. We're also going to look around the NFC East. Now, full disclosure, I am full-on Dallas Cowboy fan. I was born to it. And fandom is something I think for a lot of people, you're either born to it or you move into it, and you slowly adopt a team. Now, Carl, you're not a Cowboy fan.
No, my dad's from Philadelphia, and he raised me an Eagles fan. So there you go. I was born into Eagles fandom, despite being Texan my whole life. I don't sports hate the Cowboys. I'm cynical. I enjoy when they're just as bad as the Eagles, kind of like they were last season, even though Philadelphia ended up bottom of the NFC East. I'm overall just a very cynical towards the Cowboys. I'm not going to hate on them if they're doing well. Like, I really do enjoy their offseason that they've put together. They're addressing their issues. I think I will give them their credit. But if they're crashing and burning, I might have a cynical laugh track ready to go for Pledge back there.
How do you feel about the this season?
For the Eagles or the Cowboys?
For the Eagles.
Well, they didn't really address what I thought was the biggest issue, which was the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, the way last season ended with the firing of everybody, trading Carson Wentz, I'm just surprised Howie Long has still survived in his job, because we're really looking at the Eagles as a team that went from winning the Super Bowl in 2017 to the bottom of the NFC East, proving that the NFL stands for not for long. But I just really didn't think Doug Peterson deserved to lose his job. And those are conversations that I'm not privy to. The news isn't even privy to. Just a lot of question marks there. And Jalen Hurts really is the best answer if all you have going on, our offensive line, is terrible. They have a lot of receivers, but Hurts needs to run for his life pretty much every play, in my opinion.
Nick Sirianni is going to have to prove himself, first-year coach. You talked about the GM and Howie Roseman, who is, I don't quite get what he's doing. I don't quite get the long-term thread for what the Eagles are. We're going to look around the NFC, certainly pay attention to the Washington football team's defense, that offense with the Giants under former coach Jason Garrett's tutelage and a healthy Saquon Barkley. The NFC East, while not being the best of the conferences, certainly will be one that the Cowboys hope to hold on to, win, and get a bye. We'll talk a lot about the Cowboys as they head into it. One of the things we endeavor to do on the halftime, when you jump in your car and spend a couple of hours or an hour away from the office or doing what we're doing, is we want to make sure we keep you up to date. So on the 10s, at that little after 10 o'clock every day from noon, we're going to make sure you get every headline. We call it Carl's Countdown. It is the 4-1-1 and the 2-1-0. Carl, what's the headlines?
Hey, we got a bed this time around. Thank you, Pledge. All right, time for some headlines here as Colin Morikawa won the British Open, otherwise also known as the Open. I think they're trying to claim the sport there. Lewis Hamilton won the British Grand Prix yesterday. The NFL fans vote Pop the best coach in the NBA, which I kind of enjoy. I appreciate Jeff Garcia sending that over to me. Team USA defeats Spain 83-75. And that's the end of your headlines here. The headlines in the 210.
It is the 411 and the 210. Carl, we got to get it right. This is restaurant quality.
411.
411. This is your thing. This is the
My
millennial
generation doesn't know what 411 is.
I guess that's true.
That's true. No, what 411? Everybody knows 911, but was there a 311? Was that general information? 311 is area.
No, let's get this straight.
Okay.
Let's talk about it. 311 is the number that you dial, I believe, if you have a question for the city of San Antonio.
Okay.
And if you dial 411, that's when you used to, if you're looking up a number, if you didn't have a phone, there's a thing called a phone book, Carl. It was a thick book of papers with everybody's and every business's phone number all in one book.
I've heard of these things.
They were a glorious thing. And if you didn't have that, you had to use the 411. So I guess that is a dated reference, but it fit for me. It seems to have worked. And those were Carl's headlines. We want to make sure that we keep you up to date. As we saw the Team USA go last night, really the story coming out is one, yes, Team USC stumbled out of the blocks. Yes, they lost to Nigeria. They did lose to the Australians, and certainly that's embarrassing. But the fact of the matter is what we saw last night was Team USA with Kevin Durant and Zach LaVine and Keldon Johnson offering NBA basketball to a bunch of NBA types in the Spanish team. It was really surprising to see Pau Gasol still playing. If you'll look to your right, Carl, you'll notice that this studio is named for the great Pau Gasol in his time. Well, it's actually an autographed photo of Pau that we couldn't give away, but we kept it here in the studio. But the story last night was Keldon. And as Keldon improves and the Spurs go face first in the draft coming up next week on the 29th, and then free agency very quickly to follow, rumors are dropping. Jeff Garcia of the Spurs Zone posted something earlier today regarding the Boston Celtics. Celtics are in need of a point guard. They have Marcus Smart. They have a number 45 draft pick. They do have a couple of bouncy bigs. One, former Texas A&M, Robert Williams, who was their number one draft pick, I believe, 2 years ago, maybe 3 now.
The Lonnie Walker draft, so 2018.
So 3 years where he's coming to the end of that short-term deal, and I don't know his first contract, and I'm not sure they've extended him. So there is some talk already about movement with the Spurs and DeJounte being pinpointed as the object of the Celtics' affection. With that in mind, you see an offer on the table, Marcus Smart, Aaron Nesmith, who was their first-round draft pick last year, if I'm not mistaken, shooter out of Vanderbilt, and maybe Robert Williams. For DeJounte seems a little bit high. You've watched DeJounte since he got here. Do you feel like he needs to stay?
I feel like that's not enough if you're trying to pry DeJounte Murray away. I get that.
I appreciate that.
I get that Marcus Smart and DeJounte are kind of comparable in terms of their defensive prowess. You probably maybe even give the edge a little bit to Marcus Smart, but I think DeJounte is right there with them. And if you're a DeJounte fan, you might go ahead and put it above Marcus Smart. But when you're talking about a 25-year-old like DeJounte Murray that has a very team-friendly contract, and finally, I think this will be the year where he can really be the person who runs the show. Last year was a very good second year off of that ACL tear. Now he's finally going to have an opportunity to run the show, be the leader of the Young Bucks. That's
young dudes.
Yeah,
it's dudes, right? Young dudes.
Yeah, because they're not Bucks. That's fair. But the Spurs have built up such young talent throughout the entire rebuilding and reloading. DeJounte was the first one of those. We're not going to mention Nikola Milutinov. That was more because we didn't want to pay our first round pick so we could sign LaMarcus Aldridge. But after that, 2016 and on, DeJounte is the leader of that group. I don't want to break that group up for Marcus Smart. The best player is the team that wins the trade. So if you get DeJounte Murray, who I think is the best player out of everybody you mentioned, the Celtics win the trade.
Go back to that. The trade is won by the team that receives the best player.
I believe that's true.
So you're a quality over quantity kind of a guy.
In the NBA, yes. I believe that's true.
Of the two, you obviously, DeJounte, as we get to know Karl Schoening, this is the halftime. You are on San Antonio's Sports Star. the choice is going to have to be made, it feels like, between DeJounte and Derek. Is that a fair statement to make as a Spurs fan, that as we move forward, the possibility, the likelihood of those two guys hanging around or being on the roster, is it getting slimmer, or do you think that these two guys will stay regardless?
Are you getting something for them, or are you proposing a trade for me?
I'm putting you in Brian Wright's shoes as you're trying to form an NBA roster for the modern era, which is going to involve more jump shooting and more rim protection and better wing defense. That's where we had some problems. That's where we're chasing. We're going to have to fill a hole for LaMarcus that we've already worked on, but more importantly, DeMar. Do you see those two staying and being part of the Spurs in the long run? 3 years, will we see a Derek White and DeJounte backcourt with San Antonio?
Until the next CBA, we are in the players demanding a trade era. And unless you're getting a MVP caliber candidate, I don't see why you would want to trade a DeJounte Murray or a Derek White. They're very clearly your best players at the moment on the roster. Keldon Johnson's up there too. And they're still so young. Derek went through 4 years of college, so obviously he's the oldest of the group despite being drafted in 2017. But I think you don't move any of these guys that we've been building team chemistry with over 4 or 5 years unless there is a home run play out there for the Spurs in the trade market, because that's why you keep and develop these first-round draft picks and accumulate, and don't trade your first-round draft picks for just any random thing.
Daryl Morey calls.
Oh, you know he will.
With Ben Simmons, is that the MVP caliber candidate that you would be looking to move?
Oh, you know Daryl Morey's just plotting all of the blockbuster trades he wants here. So he would definitely only do a trade if he wins. However, I did say earlier
who would do a trade that you don't win?
Yeah, of course. Everybody overvalues their assets in the NBA. And Ben Simmons, it's all hot hype right now. I think there's a lot of people who are prisoners of the moment, don't see that they have a 24-year-old multiple-time All-Star in Ben Simmons. And I guess if you're really just trying to compliment Embiid, and Daryl Morey's interested, I think DeMar DeRozan's probably the best player to go with Joel Embiid, and I don't think he's part of the Spurs' future plans necessarily. I would start to, if I'm Brian Wright, I would start to gauge interest in DeMar going to Philadelphia and a sign and trade if Ben Simmons is available. I don't think I want to move DeJounte or Derek for Ben Simmons unless the deal is kind of sweetened and even.
But that would take convincing DeMar DeRozan to take a deal, sign a deal, and to go get traded. If he's not a part of this deal, if DeMar has already figured out where he's going to go in a sign and trade, is not part of the formula. And I believe that's where we are. Do you think in your heart of hearts that DeMar is going to be a part of a sign and trade deal?
I think that's the best way for DeMar to get his money if it's not from the Spurs or the Knicks.
I do think he'd look awfully good in a Knicks uniform. The San Antonio Spurs, they certainly looks like that the roster is improving by the day just because we're seeing Keldon Johnson perform at a level that we all expected to see. Certainly Greg Popovich, I don't know if this was a part of the grand scheme of bringing in Kevin Love just so that you could exit him. But the fact is, last night, what we saw was Keldon Johnson doing the kind of things that Olympic teams need to win gold medals, and that's having a guy out there that isn't a star, that is willing to do a little bit of the dirty work. And that's what we saw in Keldon. Downhill, playing international basketball, for lack of a better term. There's no taking it easy with Keldon. It's 100% and he's on the floor. When you see that with what Keldon is capable of as we go through the halftime, is he destined to be the starting four? You talk about 4-3 or 2. I'm not sure about point guard, Carl, but maybe 4-3 or 2. Is he destined to be that starter and be the primary bucket getter for the Spurs next year?
Positionless basketball is key here, and obviously you want to be able to have as versatile lineup as possible, and Keldon really is that versatility. And I think he's very smart. You look at a lot of the buckets that he got last night, and probably the ongoing issue with Team USA so far to this point is that there's no lower defensive box in FIBA rules, and there's no defensive 3 seconds. And that's just throwing them off and taking away what are very common lanes to the bucket down the lane lines. But now they're getting shut down by the middle of a 2-3 zone, or just players that are more zone savvy without that defensive 3 seconds to have to worry about. Keldon got a lot of easy buckets by being able to read that spacing into the lane, and that's his best skill. He has the ability to get to the rim and score at the rim. His shooting is definitely coming along, and his size and athleticism make him the ability to play that 4 position.
When we're going to talk Dallas Cowboys for sure just a little bit after the next break. Michael Irvin has come out saying if the Cowboys are truly championship caliber, they have to be vaccinated at that 85% threshold. If they're not, what's the point? He says, if you lose a couple of star players for a couple of weeks, your season is done. It is just lip service if you haven't gotten your team completely vaccinated. As we sit, only 13 of the NFL teams have reached that 85% threshold to allow a little bit more freedom during the training camp, and the Cowboys have not reached that. We're also going to look across the NFC East. Don't forget the NBA Finals can be found right here on ESPN San Antonio, brought to you by Mellow Mushroom. We'll have them for you tomorrow, and we'll talk finals as well. I want to give away some tickets. John Mayer is coming to Austin. Now go ahead and you want to mark your calendars. It's Mayer. John Mayer.
San Antonio or Austin?
Austin. He's coming to the it's the old building, but it will be replaced, right? Is he going to the
Moody
Irwin
Center?
The Moody Center.
They're booking that thing up.
So he's going to be here on April the 20th of next year. Yeah, he's going to be at the Moody Center. You guys want to go? Get on the Kielbasa Bacon phone lines. 656-3776. That's 656 ESPN. This is a rather monumental thing. This is the very first time that San Antonio's Sports Star has given away tickets. So be caller number 7 to 656-3776. 656 ESPN. Lucky number 7 is going to win a pair of tickets to go check out John Mayer at the Moody Center on April the 20th of next year. If you don't win them, you can go get them at Ticketmaster.com. Just another reason it pays to listen to San Antonio's Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM all day, every day. Coming back after we give away those tickets, let's look at the Dallas Cowboys prospects as they head to Oxnard. We'll be there with them as ESPN and the Stars training camp coverage gets going next Monday. I got to go put on the turnover chain. We'll be right back talking Dallas Cowboys here on the Star, San Antonio's Sports Star, 1250 AM and 94.5 FM.
Summer is all about the sunshine. Baseball's All-Star Game. Getting wet to cool off. And patiently waiting for football season to get here. Pass the time and win some summer cash. We're giving away $1,000 each weekday. Listen for the winning keyword at 710 1 4 and 6 and enter that keyword at sasportstar.com. Money to buy those season tickets you've been wanting to score. Official rules online at sasportstar.com. San Antonio Sports Star. ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
If you're living with chronic joint pain in your knees, hips, lower back, and shoulders, I've got exciting news for you.
Emmett Smith, all-time rushing leader and Hall of Famer.
Now you can get relief from pain without harmful medications and surgery. Call my guys at QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics specializes in biologic therapies that can repair and restore damaged tissue. I'm talking about natural pain treatments now available, not just for pro athletes, but to people like you.
At QC Kinetics, we're seeing patients every day who suffer from chronic joint pain, but who desperately wanted to avoid surgery. We're treating joint pain with biologic therapies, regenerative solutions with long-lasting results.
Listen, it's all about getting your life back. Playing touch football with kids, walking upstairs pain-free, getting back on a job, and patients at QC Kinetics are raving about the results.
QC Kinetics. Call to learn more about restorative treatments that can get you back in the game.
Call QC Kinetics 210-571-0318. 2 area locations, QC Kinetics 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318.
Don't wait until you think you have a problem with your water before calling Alamo Water Softeners. Hi, Jason Minix here. Have Alamo Water Softeners come out to your house and give you a free water analysis and free estimate. Get free basic installation with the purchase of select new water softeners. You know, in San Antonio, we have some of the hardest water in the country. Having a water softener, it's a necessity, not a luxury. So discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com. If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
What are you going to do when your air conditioning goes down? What are you going to do when the plumbing breaks in your house? I know what I do. That's called Service First AC and Plumbing because I have their number in my phone. One touch dial brings a fast service, same-day service called the best, like Service First and AC and Plumbing. The number you need is 210-521-1500. Again, it's 210-521-1500. It's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when. Your AC will go down, your plumbing will break, and when you need a first responder, the likes of which Service First and AC and Plumbing can bring, you got to have the number available. They specialize in emergencies. They're family operated. They've been around for 14 years around San Antonio, taking care of San Antonians. Fast, reliable, proactively, and most importantly, they are trusted. AC and Plumbing, the likes of which you need on an emergency basis. That's Service First AC and Plumbing. Put the number in your phone. That's 210-521-1500. 210-521-1500. Service First AC and Plumbing.
Get savings on Pro Essentials at the Lowe's Just for Pros event going on now. Save on select appliance special values. Plus, save an additional $50 when you buy 2 or more appliances, each priced $396 or more. Find more savings throughout the store at Lowe's, the new home for pros. Must ask cashier to apply discount in store. Online must use promo code. Can't be combined with any other discounts. See Lowe's.com for exclusions and terms. Valid 7/15 through 8/4. U.S. only.
Staples Connect has everything for back to school at amazing prices. Right now, Crayola 12-count colored pencils and 10+2 Crayola marker bonus packs and Bic Round Stick Ballpoint Pen 10 packs are just 97 cents each. So you won't just be ready for school, you'll be Prepared Parent of the Year ready.
I just want to thank my family and Staples for making this possible.
Visit your local Staples store or staples.com/back to school today and get more than ready for school. Ends 9/18, limit 30 on Crayola. Bic pens in store only.
Take a break from the hustle. This is Halftime with Rob Thompson and Karl Schoening on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It's halftime. Let's check the tape. Go replenish your fluids. Do a little carbo loading. Maybe change your pants. Ever hear about the players that go in at halftime and change the uniforms? Like full on, change the full uniform. Ever know anybody did that?
No, only the Lakers did it one time when they were forced to wear short shorts. I remember they went to regular shorts. They ended up coming back and win the game. But that's the only time I can remember an entire group at least changing.
Some guys just don't like to, they get in halftime, their sweaty uniform, get in and change. This is halftime. Get in, get yourself changed, put on a dry uni, new shimmel. He's Karl Schoening. I'm Rob Thompson, and this is halftime. Don't adjust your radios. Yes, things sound very different today. You are on San Antonio Sports Star. We're still ESPN. We're still carrying those letters. We're still going to give you everything that ESPN has to offer, but we've moderated a bit. I like you. I was getting a little tired of turning on the radio and hearing a bunch of guys yelling at each other all day long. Just argue, yell. That's not the point. What we are endeavoring to do here at the Star is offer you local programming that focuses on things that we care about. Yeah, we'll talk about the Nationals for sure, but I know, everybody knows there's other avenues to find your national sports, but the in-depth coverage that only we can offer as an ESPN affiliate here in San Antonio with the likes of a Rudy J and you, Karl Schoening, and Jason Minix, the legend that'll be holding down the blitz from 4 to 7, surrounded by a cavalcade of stars. We want to thank everybody for joining us today. We want to be part of this community, and we went and got people that are and have been and will be part of the community. It's an exciting day around the Radio Ranch as the Star premieres today. We've got so much coming your direction. We are your affiliate with the Dallas Cowboys. We will be at training camp. We will maintain as your affiliate with the Fighting Texas Aggies. We will continue to be the Texas Rangers affiliate here in San Antonio, plus everything else that those four letters can bring us. We will make sure if you listen with us, we'll keep you entertained and we'll keep you moderately informed at the very best. You can win those arguments at the corner of the bar at the water cooler. We left talking Dallas. We're going to talk some Dallas Cowboys. As they prepare to head to training camp this week, there was some news yesterday. The Cowboys released a defensive back, a cornerback that played a little bit for them last year, but was not expected to make a huge dent in the on the defense. It appears he's about to be suspended for PED use. They're going to land on Thursday. We'll get the state of the Cowboys, and all of the Star crew will be in Oxnard starting on Monday for live coverage of your Dallas Cowboy training camp. You know, Carl, as an NFC East aficionado, you being an Eagle fan.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to stand up for this? I mean, are you a true Eagle fan? Are you like a battery throwing Eagle fan? Are you a get arrested and go to the old jail there in the vet? Are you that kind of Philly fan? We need you to be.
I would throw snowballs at Santa if the Eagles were doing that and they tried to cheer us up with Santa.
Good.
Cheer us up with a good free agent.
So with that in mind, Philadelphia Eagle fan, how the hell do you expect to win a single damn game with Jalen Hurts as your quarterback?
That's a good
question. Do you
question.
legitimately believe that this guy, an option quarterback that can squat, 8,000 pounds, but I'm not sure about how accurate he can throw, can take the Eagles to even close to the Wentz years?
Well, let's also remember Carson Wentz could never stay healthy. So that's fair and a legitimate mark against Carson Wentz in the Wentz years because Nick Foles really saved him in 2017 and all the things that go. And Nick Foles was obviously the biggest quarterback and best quarterback that the Eagles have had the last few years. Something happened in that locker room. I think maybe drafting Jalen Hurts with that second round pick. I don't really know. Maybe it was coaching personnel, but something just tore the Eagles apart from within, and it's in pieces. It's all over the place. It's time for them to pick up. They only won 4 games last year, and they didn't. They were having some internal issues on whether or not they should win their last game of the season to get 5 wins and move from, I think it was 12th to further back in the draft. It was just a ridiculous argument of why do you want to win a meaningless game? And Jalen Hurts made a big uproar about it. There's so much going on with the Philadelphia Eagles that I like our receiver core, and that's about it. We have a lot of young, good receivers. I was really hoping that they would maybe make a big move in the offseason with all these quarterbacks that are also demanding trades.
You got a Flacco.
You were serious about that, Eagles?
you got a Flacco. I don't know what the problem is. He's got a ring.
Yeah, and he's not going to be able to escape the pressure that his offensive line's going to have on him in 3 seconds.
Let's not kid ourselves. They're angling for Deshaun Watson. The moment they can go try to get him, they are going to go get Deshaun Watson. We're going to talk in the 1 o'clock hour. ESPN has got a forecast. They're looking at all 32 NFL teams and going, what are they going to look like over the next 3 years? Where do they land? Dallas Cowboys land right in the middle, number 16. We'll give you why they do that in the 1 o'clock hour. As we talk Dallas Cowboys, as they prep to go to Oxnard, Michael Irvin, he Hall of Fame, he of Ring of Honor, he of all things Dallas Cowboys, was talking about the Cowboys, and in a sense, he called them out. And I can understand it because I don't quite understand why you wouldn't get vaccinated. Again, I'm not going to get into it. It's whether you're going to debate science or fake science or whatever it might be. But the fact is, this is what the NFL has told the teams. If you can get 85% of your players vaccinated, if you can go out there and get 85% vaccinated, you will be able to practice much more like you did in 2019 than you did in 2020. COVID will allow the lack of protocol will allow you to kind of get things back to normal. And if you don't, well, protocols will stay in place. And for those specific players, their life will be just like last year. Quarantining when they arrive, all those negative things. And that has not been enough. As we sit right now, only 13 teams are fully vaccinated or at that 85% threshold, and the Cowboys are not part of it. And Michael Irvin said, look, if you think you're championship caliber, if the Super Bowl is truly your goal, if you're not as a team above that 85% benchmark, then you're not really in it. When you're talking about titles, that is lip service because you're not doing everything you can to be prepared to get to the playoffs. You agree with that statement?
Absolutely. And this is speaking as a fellow vaccinated person. So you and I are doing something we couldn't do a year ago, which is maskless, probably if I broke out the tape measure under 6 feet away across the desk from me. And I don't understand why there's such a resistance. It really bummed me out. We talked about this earlier. 13 teams. Really, only 13 teams meet the 85%. And I think it's more than just players. It's coaches as well. There's a lot that goes into a quote-unquote team in this situation. And I just don't see how at any point in July or June or whenever this vaccine actually became officially available to whoever is the age group that you're talking about, these people who are in the under 65, because at first it was just everybody above 65. How do you not demand it of your team? I think you almost need to demand it because it was such a ridiculous year last year. I kind of actually throw away a lot of last year. If you played great, that's great on you. If you played bad, I understand. It's not a normal year. There's not normal practice time, and you're only hurting your teammates if you're not vaccinated, and yourself, of course.
Irvin goes on to say, somebody in that damn locker room should say, hey, man, we're going to have a chance. Are you vaccinated? Let's go through this because this could be a 2-week healthy dude missing games. And in this league, this ain't the NBA. In this league, it could be for you the end of a season. The right person misses 2 weeks. That's it. Your ass is out. 17 games, 16 games. You miss 2 games, 3 games, divisional games. It's over. So the lip service that we are fighting for a championship, competing with the, well, we're not going to vax and we're going to continue to wear a mask. I'm no scientist. I go by what I've read. I've taken the vaccine, but I do know this. Judging by the rapid expanse of this Delta variant, which seems by every measure to be so much more communicable, the statement I heard this morning makes perfect sense. You're either going to get vaccinated or you're going to get COVID. You can't, with the variant that we're dealing with now, you can't ward it off with just masks. So you're either going to get vaccinated or you're going to get it. And if we will operate under that premise, if these teams aren't at that 85% threshold, we can expect lots of missed games. We can expect lots of positives. I'm not saying sick. I'm saying testing positive, which can be 2 different things, asymptomatic, no symptoms, or maybe they actually get it. But if you're not there, judging by what we're seeing going on in the rest of the world, we are headed toward as many missed games, as many, and I don't think the NFL is planning on postponing or canceling games. So more players gone, more losses, and more backups required. General managers, their jobs are going to be stressed again because you're going to have the depth if you're not getting vaccinated.
That's just insane that we're at this point. We're under 85% are vaccinated. And if you remember last year, I think it was the Patriots who missed 2 weeks pretty early, and they just could never recover from it. Not to mention they already had several players opt out. So it's sad that we have to talk about it when there's the possibility, there's the alternate reality where every team in the NFL has a fully vaccinated roster because we're all in this together. But just appears that this will be an ongoing storyline that nobody wants to hear about, of maybe there's an outbreak within a team if you're talking about under this 85% threshold.
We had a huge fight here in San Antonio over the weekend. Jamel Charlo ended up with a split draw. The judges' cards were ridiculous. Now, whether you're a Charlo fan or not, fact is the numbers looked weird, and he probably should have lost that fight. Let's look at the cards. Let's look at the fight, and let's look at the imminent rematch to gather together all the belts in the super welterweight. Let's talk some boxing next. Don't forget, we're talking NBA Finals as well, as the Bucks and the Suns will go at it again tomorrow night. You can catch it right here on The Star, brought to you by Mellow Mushroom. Talking boxing and Cowboys coming up next here on the halftime. You're on The Star, 1250 AM and 94.5 FM.
And now, a man's thoughts on San Antonio sports star. What were you thinking?
That escalated quickly.
This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Sports Center is brought to you by Kielbasa Slow Crafted Sausage, available at your local grocery stores.
I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star. The Dallas Cowboys have released cornerback Rashard Robinson ahead of training camp, who is set to serve a 2-game suspension for violating the league's PED policy earlier this offseason. In basketball, the U.S. men's Olympic team builds momentum in their final game before the Tokyo Olympics with an 83-76 win over Spain. Dame Lillard led the U.S. with 19 points as he, Kevin Durant, and Zach LaVine combined for 9 3-pointers, and Spurs forward Keldon Johnson, who was promoted to the team Friday, scored 15 points on 7-9 shooting and was a team best plus 18 in the win. USA opens Olympic pool play Sunday against France in Saitama outside Tokyo. Depending on when the finals end, they could end up playing that game with just 9 players. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
O'Reilly. When it's a warm day and your car's AC is blowing hot air, you need some relief. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and talk to our professional parts people about AC Pro refrigerant recharge kits for your vehicle. Buy now and you'll get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate. Keep cool this summer with AC Pro refrigerant at O'Reilly Auto Parts, in store or at O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Don't let a slick Willie or some Johnny-come-lately throw you a fast one. Go with a trusted pro you can count on. Your independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer is trained to be the best. Quality service before and after installation. American Standard Air.
Ask the pros at Aramendia about their exclusive Advantage program. American Standard equipment installed, worry-free, maintenance included for one low monthly price.
ARAMENDIA, Aramendia.
License number TACLA 447668.
Northeast Independent School District is now hiring and training school bus drivers. Whether you're looking for a new job, you're a retiree, or you're retired military, come help drive students to succeed and apply at Northeast ISD Transportation today. No experience is necessary, and you will get paid while earning your CDL and learning how to drive a school bus. The Northeast ISD Transportation Department is ranked as one of the top 100 school bus fleets in America, and our drivers receive exceptional pay and benefits, including health, dental, vision, and retirement. If you're looking for work, if you're retired from the military, or you simply want to make a difference in our community, apply now with the Northeast ISD Transportation Department. Join our team and discover Northeast ISD by calling 210-356-9229. That's 210-356-9229. Or you can text Drive Bus 797979. That's text Drive Bus to 797979.
Guys, stop putting your love life on hold. U.S. Pharmacy has some exciting news. If you've been wanting to try Viagra or Cialis, now's the perfect time. Call today and receive 90 little blue or little yellow pills for only $119 with free shipping. Why order some low-dose sildenafil from one of those subscription services when we can give you what you want now? Call 800-990-6271 and we'll rush your order discreetly packaged to your door. Been thinking about trying Viagra or Cialis? Call U.S. Pharmacy at 800-990-6271 for as little as only $119 for 90 pills. Need your package in a hurry? Call 800-990-6271 and ask about our express shipping option, and we'll rush your order to you as soon as possible. Save money on the little blue or yellow pill you've been wanting to try. Again, 800-990-6271 now. That's 800-990-6271.
Attorney Joe Cordell. For many men, divorce brings a bewildering sense of loss. You feel adrift, isolated, like you're the only person in the world. But the good news is, you're not alone. Cordell & Cordell is here to help. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has been there to guide men through all aspects of divorce, and we'll be there for you.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's San Antonio area attorneys. Offices in San Antonio, Austin, and St. Louis. CordellCordell.com.
With double the seasoned beef and a large drink all for $5, Taco Bell's Grande Nachos truly deserves a Grande intro, perhaps with a Grande beat box. Said it's crunchy, it's cheesy, beef. Actually, that sounded better in my head. Go get the $5 Grande Nachos before they make every exit. Nope, only at Taco Bell. At limited participating locations for a limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Tax extra. Drinks excludes freezers. Double the seasoned beef as compared to the Nachos Bell Grande.
It's a baseball summer, and the Missions are back on at the Wolf tomorrow night for $2 Tuesday. The Missions battle the Springfield Cardinals. Come out and enjoy $2 tickets, parking, beer, and sausage wraps. Gates open at 6 p.m. with the first pitch at 7:05. Go to samissions.com for tickets and details. That's samissions.com. Wolf Stadium is now open to 100% capacity for Missions baseball. Let's get back to fun. Play ball!
Bet you can tell me when the last Spurs championship was. But can you name your congressman? Sports or politics? The answer is obvious. This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This is Greeny on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It's halftime. Head to the locker room, grab a towel, sit back, and evaluate the rest of your day. He is Karl Schoening. I am Rob Thompson. We're taking you to 1 o'clock. Don't worry, all you Kellerman fans. You're going to get all of Max. It'll start at 2 o'clock. Take you till 4 when Jason will grab the mantle with the blitz and take you all the way into the evening. We got your Texas Rangers, and you are on this San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Thanks for joining us on our, this is one of those shakedown cruises. Shakedown. We're just seeing, we're getting things started. We're the paint's still drying around here. We're going to spend the next week getting things kind of organized. I think in the parlance, we call this a soft opening.
Yeah.
So we're open, but we're just not so much advertising. And we want to thank everybody for diving in with us. This is going to be a regular occurrence on the halftime. It's our opportunity to get you midway through the day, sum up yesterday, and prepare for tonight, and get a little bit more of an opportunity to go some long-form conversation on the topics of the day. We left talking the Dallas Cowboys and Michael Irvin. And Irvin calling out the Cowboys, those that have not been vaccinated as the Cowboys have not achieved that 85% threshold to have some of the COVID protocols lifted off the football team. There's some breaking news coming out of the SEC. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey says games canceled due to COVID this year won't be rescheduled. Everybody knows where they stand. There's too much, riding on this, and there's an easy fix. Go get vaccinated. So in the SEC, at least, if you're not vaxxed and you don't have enough to play and you get it postponed or canceled, there will be no redos. That will go down as a loss.
I'm amazed that schools have not made it mandatory, because the schools definitely don't want outbreaks happening among their students and dealing with having to shut down classes and go back to virtual.
I'll be the first one to agree with you. I've grown up with the idea you don't try to make sense out of nonsense.
That's true.
And when you've got so much writing on these kind of situations, yet choices are made, whether they're based in any kind of fact or not, I just will never quite understand. Over the weekend, we had a big fight here in San Antonio. And, as proud as we are to be a fight city, we kind of got in first in line when the protocols and the everything was lifted. San Antonio got an early fight. Well, we had a big one over the weekend. In fact, we even had Jarmel Charlo on the show as we were preparing for the junior middleweight bout that was going to unify everything. And it turned out to be a hell of a fight. I mean, the fight itself was spectacular, but the end result was a split. Brian Castano was had to fight pretty tough to kind of keep it even, but the scorecards at the end of the fight, we had one judge came in. It was 113 all, even fight, draw. Another judge come in and say 114, 113, but he had on his card that Charlo did take around 10-8 instead of the standard 10-9. So it was basically a draw there. The third judge came in with a scorecard that basically had Charlo winning easily, 4 rounds over. When I was growing up, James, all young guys. So James falls in there. Carl falls in there. Do you remember watching the old Olympics when, I guess that's going to be, answer's going to be no. But in my day, back in the day, you'd watch an international event that was going to be judged, whether it was gymnastics or diving, wherever it took somebody to look at and judge you, not, to quantify what you did. Everybody'd have their scores, and they would drop the high score and the low score. No matter what it was, if it was a 9.9 and there was a 5.7, those would drop, and then they would average out in between. This is the worst case scenario in boxing when you have one guy that's wrong. In boxing, we're all for rematches, right? I mean, that's what boxing is. It's the trilogy. It's the rematch. It's, come back and get it. This feels like they took that step toward the rematch. Like, let's just go ahead and make sure we have a rematch and we're going to have some kind of weird split draw. How would you fix that? Or do you have any problem with maybe I should go deeper with Karl Schoening as our millennial. Are you a boxing fan?
I enjoy the sport. I cannot say that I am well versed in all the things, but I've never been to an event, but I will watch a random boxing event on whatever channel it might be on. I do enjoy the sport of UFC is the same thing.
Does a split decision affect your fandom at all? Like, oh, well, I mean, we kissed our sister and we'll do it again in a couple months.
Not really, because I do think there is that Rasheed Wallace, both teams played hard mentality. And if you're talking about leaving it up to judges, you're going to get whatever result you're going to get. And as a fan who maybe saw it a different way, thinking that guy probably should have won, I guess a draw is fine. No, it doesn't affect my fandom, but you do want to take it to the millennial side of things. We have all of these advanced stats that I can't even see with my naked eye, such as how many punches landed, and things like that, where the shots were. I think there maybe needs to be some advanced camera tracking or whatever it is. Those stats, they probably do take them into effect, but let's eliminate the human and let the computer do it. You can't argue with a computer.
There we go. And I think that is the millennial attitude. Take it out of the eyes and ears and thought processes of the human and put in like what's the tennis eagle eye or whatever they use to see what's in and out. And they even have the computerized strike boxes now in some minor leagues.
MLB needs to eliminate the home umpire as soon as possible. VAR is pretty cool, or VAR, whatever it's called in soccer. I don't know, but it's determining offsides. I think that the future is, if you have the technology, use it.
Is it possible to win a fight and not look like you've won it on the cards? You know what I mean? Can you score well enough to win a fight even though in your mind's eye it looked like you lost?
You probably have to definitively win, as in it did not go down to a decision. If it goes down to a decision, you're dealing with whatever random, hey, you guys did not knock each other out, so we are going to have impartial parties decide for you. Why not a computer?
The junior middleweights gathered. They looked to unify the belt. They did not. Jermell Charlo will get another opportunity with Brian Castano to have a unified junior middleweight division, though. I expect they'll fight, but I do believe that both are headed to different weight divisions. Different weights are where they're going to end up, and especially Charlo with his twin brother, who's also an absolute stud. Yeah, San Antonio hosted a big fight. It was on Showtime. Looked like the attendance was great, and it was a great fight. It just ended up the way so many fights do. Kissing your sister and looking forward to the next one. And as we dealing with the Fury camp, dealing with COVID and all that, it's going to be a couple of weeks before we get us a fine fight. In the 1 o'clock hour, the halftime, we're going to look deeply into the NBA Finals. We're your home for the finals here on The Star. Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, Mellow Mushroom will get you going for pregame, and we'll get the tip going just soon after that. You got something to say, James?
Wednesday night.
Did I say Wednesday night? What did I say?
It's Monday.
It's only Monday. I got here this morning at Monday. It's Tuesday now, right? He is Karl Schoening. I am Rob Thompson. You are on the halftime. And if you're curious as to what you're hearing, yes, ESPN San Antonio has morphed. It has grown. We are now San Antonio's sports star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM, live and local. 8 hours of local programming for you every weekday. We get going in the morning from 7 to 10. That is R&R in the morning. We welcome aboard our first-round draft pick in Rudy J., who will be with us from here on out. Our second first-round draft pick, Karl Schoening, sitting in right now. We got one, and we traded up. We'd been moving some other benefits and the players to be named later, and Karl got 1B. And he's here right now. We're going to have Jason Minix at 4 o'clock as the blitz remains. And Jason Minix, the cornerstone of the operation here at the Star, will be taking you through every afternoon. That's what our endeavor is, to offer you local sports the way you like it. We're going to talk San Antonio the way we need to talk San Antonio. We'll let the Nationals handle all the other stuff. Let those in the know like us keep you informed. Hang around with us. We got so much more to get into. The Star is in play, and you are on the halftime. This is San Antonio's Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Every football season history is made.
Prescott walks the dog. Touchdown.
Every football season history is written.
Perfect strike to Amari.
San Antonio Sports Star has been alongside history as the exclusive voice of the Dallas Cowboys. Nobody knows the Cowboys as we do. Not even close. Catch every touchdown and every play here. Exclusively on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
If your brakes are bad or you think they're going bad, get them fixed. Hi, Jason Minix here for New Brakes, nubrakes.com. They're a mobile brake shop. That means they come to you to fix your brakes. We're all busy. None of us have time to go spend hours waiting at a repair shop or want to deal with the hassle of dropping your car off and going back to get it the next day. That is the beauty of New Brakes. They come to you. New Brakes provides convenient and affordable brake repairs, and they only fix brakes, so you won't get the upsells like at a traditional repair shop. Most repairs are done in less than an hour. They use premium brake parts and back all repairs with a 24-month, 24,000-mile warranty. Go to nubrakes.com. Schedule that repair. Save 10% when you mention my name or ESPN San Antonio. You need your brakes done? Get them done with New Brakes. You continue to do what you do while New Brakes fixes your brakes, and they're great at what they do. Go read all the 5-star reviews and schedule your repair at nubrakes.com. That's nubrakes.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
My husband's ED was affecting our marriage. When he first started experiencing ED, it was difficult for both of us. We didn't know who to talk to about it or where to get help. HIMSS was our answer. HIMSS connected my husband with a licensed provider online. He was able to get medication to treat his ED at a fraction of the price people pay for the name brand. It was delivered to our door, and guess what? Our sex life is back. It works.
Right now, get your first online provider's visit totally free when you go to forhims.com/love. Yep, free. No copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Just the care you need.
Thanks to HIMSS, we got our sex life and our marriage back.
To start your free online visit, go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/love. That's forhims.com/love for your free online visit. forhims.com/LOVE.
Great values are happening now during Lowe's Summer Savings. Save on select appliance special values. Plus, save an additional $50 when you buy 2 or more appliances, each priced $396 or more. You'll also find new lower prices on ceiling fans, landscape lighting, and more. So shop Lowe's today. Must ask cashier to apply discount in store. Online must use promo code. Can't be combined with any other discounts. See Lowe's.com for exclusions and terms. Valid 7/15 through 8/4. U.S. only.
My doctor told me my blood pressure is borderline. I figured I could worry about it or do something about it. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula. It works safely and naturally to help maintain healthy blood pressure with a custom blend of garlic, vitamins, and minerals. And it's odor-free. I'm taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Hi, everyone. Michael Kielbasa with Kielbasa Smoked Meats here. When you bring a package of our smoked sausage home, keep it simple. It's handcrafted in small batches and fully cooked, so you can just heat it up and enjoy. My favorite way to eat it is on a bun with mustard or wrapped in a tortilla. Try some from a store near you today, and if it's not the best you've ever tasted, I'll give you your money back. Guaranteed. Find Kielbasa at a store near you today.
At CDW, we get the people who need to sign here aren't always here.
Tell me about it. I'm always chasing down signatures. I go through pens and shoes like chewing gum.
Sounds like you need Adobe Sign orchestrated by CDW to securely automate e-signatures and workflows across devices from anywhere. Integrating with existing tools, Sign can save your organization time, money, and miles.
Thank goodness. I can finally take these shoes off.
No. Back on. IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Find out more at cdw.com/Adobe Sign.
We are
are back doing live shows on location. Jason Minix here. Join me for our first live Blitz broadcast in over a year as we're going to be out at Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar as we celebrate 9 years at that Slacker's North Star location this Thursday. The Blitz live 4 to 7, tons of prizes, including WWE Raw tickets, bets this Thursday with the Blitz back out at Slacker's North Star location as they celebrate 9 years with one heck of a party. We'll see you out at Slackers.
Summer is all about the sunshine. Baseball's All-Star Game. Getting wet to cool off. And patiently waiting for football season to get here. Pass the time and win some summer cash. We're giving away $1,000 each weekday. Listen for the winning keyword at 710, 1, 4, and 6. And enter that keyword at sasportstar.com. Money to buy those season tickets you've been wanting to score. Official rules online at sasportstar.com. San Antonio Sports Star. ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM. AA Best Bail Bonds presents the 2021 Cowboys Training Camp on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM. Powered by Ewald Kubota and Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds.
Left side of the end zone. Touchdown. Another bounces left. Stiff arm. Walk to the touchdown. See, got it.
360-degree coverage on air, online, and on site from Oxnard. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM. One team, one mission. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Rob Thompson, Karl Schoening. Halftime.
It's halftime. Don't mind the brake lights. We're going to get you all the way back to work. And if you're gigging, hang with us all day long. We got all kinds of stuff for you guys. Yes, it's halftime, a brand new show, and this is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Karl Schoening in with me. I'm Rob Thompson. 2 hours of, as I like to say, restaurant quality radio every day from noon to 2. It's our endeavor to keep you informed, entertained, while you get some time away from the office or you leave your home office or doing whatever you do. Let's get to know a little bit of Karl Schoening. You might recognize that name. His father has been on the play-by-play for our world champion San Antonio Spurs for 20 years, just about exactly right now.
It'll be his 21st. He actually saw every game that the Big Three played together.
That is a proud statement to be able to make. Karl Schoening in as he is co-hosting here on the afternoon. You'll get his work in the morning as he's part of the trio that is R&R in the morning, producing that. Me and Rudy J will have you from 7:10 to 10 every morning. So let's get to know Karl. Karl, as we grow up and we become sports types in the business, and you certainly grew up with that, what's the very first sports memory you have? The first thing you remember that had something to do with a sport?
Oh, man. That's a good question.
That's why I'm so good at what I do.
I would have to probably say not understanding the sport of football, but being at Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium watching Ricky Williams play. Because Ricky was roughly when I was growing up, and my dad was with the Longhorns before he was with the Spurs. And football's such a chess game, so many moving parts going on that I didn't understand what was going on, but it was always really cool. My favorite part was the intro, the big screen intro, where all the Longhorns were being turned into kind of Minotaur kind of creatures, and they still kind of have something like that. They've updated it since the 90s, but that was my favorite, and probably earliest memory from those Longhorn days.
Greatest sports memory.
I was at Game 7 of the 2005 Finals. That was pretty fun. That was awesome.
That was worst sports memory.
2013.
The shot?
Oh, yes. Do I need to say any more? Ray Allen?
So it was the Ray Allen shot?
Yeah.
Your allegiance. We've established already you are a Philly fan, in that you are an Eagle fan that comes from your bloodlines. That's where Daddy's from. Are you a Philly fan? Are you baseball? Are you Phillies? Or
Phillies when they're good.
So not for a while.
The Philadelphia
so who are you a
Phillies,
fan of?
the Philadelphia Phillies' best player is the Philadelphia Fanatic. That is what keeps the butts in the seats every year. And the Fanatic I'll always be a fan of. But the Phillies, it's a little hard to keep up with 162 games when you're terrible. As a
Rangers fan, I can identify. If you had to choose between the Rangers and the Stros, which would you choose?
Astros. My girlfriend's from Houston.
Keeping in mind that we are the home of your Fighting Texas
Sorry.
Rangers, the proud owner of the Aluminum Boot as the second best professional Major League Baseball team in the state of Texas.
My business partner is Mike Capps, the radio play-by-play voice of the Round Rock Express, which splits times between the Astros and the Rangers, and they're the current Rangers right now. So there's the other out on that.
That tends to go back and forth.
That's all right.
With every year.
I bet one of the best environments in minor league baseball, Round Rock Express. If you haven't been.
The Round Rock Express is a good time. It is a good time. But, we got our missions.
And I enjoy the missions, too. I need to definitely hit some games now that I finally live in San Antonio.
Don't forget, we sponsor the $2 Tuesdays for our missions. Check out the San Antonio Sports Stars $2 Tuesdays for the missions. You get $2 reserve tickets, parking, pizza, and beer, sausage wrap. That's all for $2. It happens on Tuesdays. For more info, go to samissions.com for tickets and details.
I am a 76ers fan, too.
So I was going to go next.
Mm-hmm.
So apart away from the Spurs. So it's all Philly all around there.
Pretty much. Yeah, I can't really think of any non-Philadelphia teams except the Spurs that I like.
Now, you've got play-by-play is in your blood, certainly from your father. You kind of grew up in the business. Of all the sports to go play-by-play with, apart from basketball, which do you appreciate calling?
Volleyball. Actually, I absolutely love volleyball. That is one of my favorite sports. So fast-paced. I can talk a mile a minute sometimes, and volleyball is something that I've sort of really figured out to enjoy. I don't know all the X's and O's, but I called the UIL state championships this past year up in Garland. Texas State, St. Ed's. I will be on Conference USA Network this year, so some UTSA volleyball. So looking forward to it, and I really thoroughly enjoy volleyball.
What is the more difficult sport to go play-by-play with?
Volleyball. That's partly why I like it. It's very, very hard.
Well, I was trying to put it kindly. What's the sport you least like doing play-by-play for?
Oh, that? I'll be honest, baseball, because baseball just goes on forever. You never know when you're going to get out of there. Sometimes nothing's happening. You have to fill a lot of time, and you have to almost be okay with dead air if you don't have a color analyst, and even if you do, less is more sometimes. Baseball's probably the hardest, and I would never want to go through the minor league circuit, which is how you get to be a professional Major League Baseball broadcaster. You have to ride the bus and do those 140 games a year, and I don't love baseball that much.
What's the series that's been on TBS about the play-by-play guy? I'm sure that every guy like your father has been a fan of that show forever. That is Karl Schoening. He is co-host of The Halftime. You're going to catch us every Monday through Friday, noon to 2, as we get you caught up in part of the local sports scene with a flavor, a little smattering of the national news, but we know what you need is absolutely local. The Dallas Cowboys are getting ready to head off to Oxnard. We're your home for Dallas Cowboy training camp coverage, but let's talk about the finals. The Saturday night was one of those games where Game 5, and as everyone talks about tournaments or series not really beginning until a home team loses. And we got that in Game 5 as Milwaukee went into Phoenix. And quite frankly, the game to me was never in doubt. They showed up, defense travels. Drew Holiday brought the defense yet again, and more importantly, he brought the offense. What we saw was the three-headed beast, the way that Milwaukee was constructed at the beginning of the season. They went and got a dog in Drew Holiday. They signed Chris Middleton to big bucks. They get their team in a position to maybe not be complete. I still think they're lacking a position, but what we've seen in Giannis has been truly MVP caliber. I got a question for you. If Milwaukee goes ahead and gets this done, which is, entirely likely, where does that put Giannis in the conversation of his career? Has he ascended himself into the top 2, 3, or 4 at his position? Will he have made it at that point? Or is there still some more to prove for him? Because quite frankly, he is a superstar without a super move, if that makes sense.
I have him even with Dirk if he wins the championship. I think that is something that is fair to say because he's won 2 MVPs. He's won a championship. He is arguably just the most unstoppable player in the league because he can just out freak you. He's the Greek freak. That's a very appropriate nickname, if you will. And I would almost say I would make an argument if he wins one more game here in the finals, he is the number 2 power forward of all time, at least starting to create a very solid what will he do in the next 3 years that needs to put him past Dirk, Karl Malone. Oh, I see Rudy J looking at me. Hey, I have him number 2 all time if he wins a championship right now. Last time a player, Rudy J, last time a player won 2 MVPs and a championship before turning 27 is the guy who's not in this conversation, the best power forward of all time, Tim Duncan.
I think that's worth restating. That the only other player in NBA history that has been MVP twice, and if it comes to pass, which I think if you're a Buck fan, you're praying for, and a lot of people looking at the league think it will, that he wins a title, that he'll be in rarefied air, the likes of which only Tim Duncan has been.
He has a lot to do to catch up to Tim, because Tim has a lot going for his conversation. Tim's in the GOAT conversation, but in terms of top 5 power forwards of all time, I think Giannis can sneak into the top 5 with a win here easy, and I have him at 2. Just because his career isn't over yet doesn't mean that I can't put him in there. I think he's a Hall of Famer right now if he wins a championship.
I mean, you're putting him above. Karl
Malone's number 2 all time in scoring
right now. I think Kevin McHale's certainly looking at you a little sideways, and then we can go old school if you really want to get there for the likes of Hayes and Bob Pettit and the likes of. And we didn't even throw Garnett into there. So the reason I find this argument so interesting, one is your age. One is, there's some other guys that you haven't seen and you're placing him up there. But 2, the thing about Giannis that I find so difficult to kind of wrap my arms around is he's a great player without great skill.
I disagree with that. I think he doesn't have a quote unquote, as the kids are calling it, I'm calling kids, bag.
He doesn't have a bag. He got nothing in there.
He has a size up and he'll get past you. And if he needs to just overall dominate with his size and athleticism, that's it. He's a great passer. I think he's an underrated passer, and he's known as like the point center, point forward that he is. But overall, defensive player of the year, how about this? If he wins the championship, only Michael Jordan, if I'm not mistaken here, multiple MVPs and a defensive player of the year and a championship.
We endeavor to keep you absolutely informed as you listen to the Star all day long. We want to make sure you get the headlines. What we do on the 10s is we offer you the latest news as curated by Karl. It's time for the 411 in the 210. Karl, what's happening in the world of sports?
Well, of course, we did talk about it last hour. It is Jamel Charlo and Brian Castellano who had a draw there.
That was a worthy effort. Let's try that one again. You're going to have to put on the chain.
Castano, okay. I wrote it out phonetically. They had a draw and at the Alamo Dome for the big boxing match this past weekend. Then Nelson Vasquez, the judge who decided to make it the even overall, is the guy who makes the headline news today. Obviously, we're talking Bucks and the Suns. That game coming up Wednesday is going to decide whether or not this goes 7, which I pray it does, or if the Bucks win their first championship since 1971. And of course, I want to jump into this next as we wrap up the countdown. Team USA defeats Spain 83-76. Keldon Johnson had 15. And overall, Team USA is starting to figure out that international game. I know we're talking about me maybe being a prisoner moment with Giannis, but those first couple of games, Nigeria, Australia, a lot of people were prisoners of the moment, not realizing those guys had not even spent a week together before they played those exhibition games and have to adjust to all the new rules. So those are your headlines here in San Antonio.
Karl's countdown, you get that on the 10s. Let's talk a little bit about Team USA. Pop's playing a little bit of daddy ball. I don't begrudge him taking Keldon, but there were so many other NBA guys that were probably a little bit more deserving, had been a little bit part of the league a little bit longer, and Keldon gets in. He is called up in a sense as COVID struck, Bradley Beal out. We're not sure if Jeremy Grant's going to be able to make it back. JaVale McGee brought up to add some post presence as Kevin Love leaves, and Keldon gets on the team and really shines last night. As we see Kevin Durant become who he is, he's the best international player just about in history for the Team USA. Guys never lost. We saw him play last night the way we expect. Dame Lillard finding his depth. Zach LaVine opens up. But really the most impressive thing about what we're seeing from Keldon Johnson is I think he's the eyes, ears, and game plan for Pop. He's just bringing the ideas that he's been practicing in for a long time. And not only does he know where to be, but at the same time, you can watch him on the court. He's directing those superstars to be where they need to be defensively. And I think more than anything else that we get from Keldon in this little couple of week run with Team USA, he will walk out of this with a confidence level that I don't think we could have even begun to expect from him for another year.
He's a pretty confident guy already. So it's interesting that you say that point, but I definitely do agree with you. And I don't necessarily think this 2021 Olympics is really I get how Keldon made the roster because you're talking about a lot of guys who weren't interested in right after this ridiculous COVID season that we just had in the NBA going to Tokyo and dealing with all of those things. Maybe if everything were a lot better, that'd be a difference. But Tokyo and Japan in general just put a state of emergency out there. And I think that you do have a lot of stars that would be ahead of Keldon on the list, not interested, really. Trae Young, I imagine, was probably someone who got a call. Steph Curry, obviously, made a whole statement saying he wasn't going to go, but I don't know if he made a whole statement, but it was news that he wasn't going to go. Other MVP candidates that are American-born opens the door for Keldon Johnson, and it's a very nice your coach has your back to Keldon, and Keldon is playing like he knows his coach has his back to him, very loose, very free. He's getting to spots on the court where he can score, and he's also a very versatile defender. He could probably defend pretty much anybody that Team USA will run into, with the exception of a couple 7-footers over the course of in the Olympics.
Now, as he goes through, by the way, we will have your Olympic coverage here on the Star, updates on the hour. We're into the Olympics and all that it comes with it, and that all gets going this Friday as the opening ceremonies begin. We're starting to see some COVID activity for our Olympic team. An alternate gymnast has tested positive. I'm not sure if we'll see her make the squad. It just seems like it's going to be a war of attrition, and then at least with Team USA, you can lose a couple and still have an all-star coming off or one that is worthy to play. As we wait today and Keldon starts making a name for himself, certainly the San Antonio Spurs are going to be mentioned in a fair amount of trade talk. We know that the Spurs are in the market to certainly change this roster. This morning, Jeff Garcia of the Spurs Zone reports that the Celtics are actively shopping for a point guard. The deal that Jeff highlighted, which I do appreciate, involves Marcus Smart, former Texas schoolboy player who matriculated to Oklahoma State. Came out of Flower Mound, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
As part of a deal, that would be a point guard coming our way and add a little bit of that defensive dog that I think Pop has always coveted. Robert Williams, formerly of Texas A&M, came out in the Lonnie Walker draft back in 2018 as the Celtics #1, a bouncy big that's got a lot of upside, just really never meshed with the Celtics. Didn't seem to fit what Brad Stevens wanted to do, and I don't think he hardly sniffed the floor under Doc, so that looks like a very movable piece for a guy that doesn't quite fit there. And their number 45 for DeJounte, that's what Jeff Garcia posted, and while I certainly appreciate that offer, and if it was made for the Spurs for DeJounte, it's 3-for-1 there. That's a deal that I take in a second.
And, I think we're looking at it from the other side here. The Boston Celtics would love to be able to usher out DeJounte Murray, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum. So you're looking to try and improve both teams whenever you do a trade, because no one's obviously interested in losing the trade. I just don't think that those guys are necessarily... Robert Williams fits the timeline for sure, but in a way, in my opinion, the Spurs are on a 22 to 25-year-old core that they're looking to build around. They have a lot of salary cap this summer. I haven't looked into the trade and how that would affect that salary cap figure that the Spurs want to probably have as much as they can, but that just doesn't really move the needle for me. That's not going to make the Spurs team significantly better, in my opinion, because you're just kind of, I think, making a trade to make a trade. That doesn't sound to me like something that would really engage what the fans would want to see, which is an MVP caliber player. So everybody's asking out, and you see a lot of these guys these days with longer term contracts that might be available to be had, such as a Ben Simmons or a Damian Lillard. I don't think that Marcus Smart is worth it. I think those guys are probably the ones that are worth the big trade.
Do you really think an MVP caliber guy is can be even mentioned in the same breath with DeJounte?
No.
Okay.
I'm talking about putting together a package. I don't think you take away DeJounte from this team. He's the guy that is getting the groups together. He is the point guard leader of this team, and you trade him for Marcus Smart, and Marcus Smart has to try and figure out how he fits in with this team. I don't think you take away the momentum that this team is probably heading towards with DeJounte Murray as the leader.
I like DeJounte.
Oh, I love DeJounte.
I think from the moment we drafted him, he had tremendous potential, and that knee injury certainly kind of altered his growth. But I'll tell you, I think that the Spurs need to move either he or Derek. One or the other. I don't think either will be able to grow into what the player they would be or can be if they're playing beside each other. They share too many of the same skill sets. I think that one needs to stay and become, in every sense of the word, the team leader, the point guard, how we define what a point guard is anymore. But there needs to be that kind of Tony Parker, this is my team. And right now, I think they share that responsibility. And I want to have one guy that is the guy on that first unit. Now, I could be wrong on that. 656-3776, 656-ESPN. If you had to make a decision, if you had to decide one of those to go, which goes? Is it Derek? Is it DeJounte? Because it just appears to me to grow the team that the Spurs want to grow, one of those guys is going to be part of a deal to get it done.
I just don't necessarily see why not, because Derek is very much a player who can do a lot of things. He was second among guards in blocks 2 years ago. James Harden was actually first, for those of you that are curious who's first. But when you look at what he brings to the table as a defensive disruptor, I think DeJounte's right there, and you kind of can run them at the points and the two. And I think as things progress forward, Keldon moves to the 3. Luka Šamanić slides into the 4. And, I'm on the Luka train. I really am. Luka Šamanić, we can talk about him. I know that a lot of fans don't know too much about him because he's getting a double redshirt year from the Spurs. But I'm very high on him being the starting 4 of the future and letting Keldon slide over to the 3. And then you have Jakob Poeltl. That is your starting 5. And unless you can give me a MVP caliber player, I don't want to break that group up.
Man, I am not impressed with that starting 5 at all. I got to be really, if our future portent is Derek, DeJounte, Šamanić, Keldon, and name your 5 and it's Jakob Poeltl, that is an 8th seed every year. The ceiling on that team is so remarkably low. We've seen this team. We've seen that.
No, we haven't. I highly disagree. Because
name a shooter. Name the modern NBA what this is. This is mid-range jump shot, pick and roll, 2012 basketball. That's this roster.
So we have $47 million to add to that group.
True. Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think John Collins wouldn't be a bad pick. You have Duncan Robinson out there. You don't need to make a trade just to say, hey, we're trying to focus one of these players, whether it's Derek or DeJounte. I think that you keep your assets and you don't go towards somebody like a Marcus Smart who's a little further along in his career. And I don't know how old he is, but he's probably hitting 30 soon if he's not already there. Marcus Smart wasn't at again, COVID's just kind of throwing all my years together, but he was at Oklahoma State 2 years, wasn't he?
He's 27. He came back out in the 14 draft.
He's not too far along, but I just don't really see. The thing that comes into this is, what are the Spurs going to add with that 45th pick? They already have the 41st pick. I don't really see Eric Salinas, who's a good follow on Twitter at Eric Sal _7. He had a really good accumulation of pick and roll stats, and the majority of the ball handling and pick and roll stats were Rudy Gay, DeMar DeRozan, Patty Mills. These guys aren't going to be on the team anymore.
No.
Give these young guys a chance. You know what the average? Do you know the youngest team in professional sports right now with players under contract is the San Antonio Spurs, 23.1 years old. Let the young guys go. I say give it till the trade deadline. If you think at the trade deadline that starting lineup does not look like a team that can maybe, whatever they do with the offseason money, I'm obviously not Brian Wright in control of the picks and the offseason money, but if you don't think that these guys finally being unleashed after all the experience that they've garnered up over the last couple of years is going to look like a team that can be a home court advantage team, then maybe you make a trade. I don't want to make a trade right now with those guys out there.
He is Karl Schoening. I am Rob Thompson. This is Halftime, and you're on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Before we head into break, I want to talk Luka Samanic here for a second.
Oh, all right. I love me some Luka.
Why?
Samanic?
Why? What exactly have you seen that tells you that I can look forward to ever seeing him contribute on a regular basis with the Spurs? Because I haven't seen it.
We'll start off with his physical attributes, and this is why I think he is not playing at the moment. He needs to bulk up a little bit. He gets pushed around a little bit when he goes out there, but that's fairly common when you're talking about somebody that you have to draft at 19 because somebody else is going to draft him at 19 years old, I should say. He was taken with the 19th overall pick, but you're looking at a guy who needs to fill out his frame, just develop overall strength, in my opinion. That's one of the things, but his skill set is phenomenal. He has a effortless stroke from three. He can put the ball on the floor. He's very versatile defensively. He can switch on to guards. I think he has a back to the basket game. How much of that is going to be used? I don't know, but he can score on the block. Luka, in his 2 years in Austin, has been one of the most impressive prospects that they have ever sent to Austin. And just because he's not getting playing time with the parent club doesn't mean that he can't come in and be a role player this year and maybe earn an extension next year. And you're talking about Luka being a long-term starter. If he's easy to remember his age because his birthday's in January of 2000. So that means he'll be 22 this January. Give him some time.
How much time do I give him? We're
his
two
rookie
in.
Contract.
We're 2 years in.
Yeah.
This is still Greg Popovich we're talking about.
Sure.
That won't serve a dinner until everything is completely done. You just don't get an op with Pop until you have completed the prep. And how long do we wait for this prep to go?
This is his year. If he's still on the end of the bench this year, then I understand where you're coming from. This is the year I think Luka breaks out and people start to pronounce his name correctly. Samanic.
He'll have to earn that.
All right.
We'll go with Luka. There's a
Samanic, like Dario Saric. They're both Croatian.
I thought it was Saric.
I thought it was Sandwich. Lucas Sandwich, right?
With Saric. Will the draft tip the cards in what the Spurs long term? If the Spurs draft a Turkish kid, that's Sanguine kid. If the Spurs draft Giddey, if the Spurs draft anybody else who's 6'9", 6'10" with handles soft that needs to work on fine-tuning the new modern game, is that going to tell us that the Luka experiment was a failure, that the draft in 2019 was successful, not because they got Luka at 19, but because they got Keldon at the end of the first round?
I think if you look at the roster as it's kind of constructed at the moment, and assuming Rudy Gay is going on to wherever he leaves, it's not San Antonio. He's probably going to go. I think Miami would be perfect for Rudy, but that's another conversation. You're missing that combo forward spot. So if they sign a John Collins in free agency or they draft a kind of 3-4, 4-5 there at 12, that's okay. It's more depth there up front, which I think the Spurs do need.
I'm sure the Spurs project quite well over the next 3 years. You can trust that the administration, Bright and Pop and all those that are making draft decisions, that the Spurs will continue to improve over the next 3 years. The NFL future power rankings are out. Projections for all 32 teams for the next 3 seasons as we look forward into the actual nuts and bolts of every roster. The Cowboys come in at number 16, right in the middle of the pack. Let's look around the predictions for the rest of the NFL. Power rankings for the next 3 years. Will youth be served? We'll talk about that next. We certainly want you to hang around with us. This is San Antonio Sports Star here, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Halftime. We'll be right back.
Football in America is a special game, a unique game played like nowhere else on earth. It's a rare game, and the men that play it make it so. Prescott, Elliott, Cooper, and Coach Mike McCarthy. And today these men walk the gridiron with one thing in common, with one mission between them: winning. The Dallas Cowboys play here on the home of the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Got joint pain but not getting relief from drugs and trying to avoid surgery?
So many people don't understand they have other options.
QC Kinetics co-founder Tyler Vale.
We have something that fits in between that helps so many people get their quality of life back and avoid that surgery.
QC Kinetics is the leader in biologic therapies for treating pain. Regenerative restorative treatments to repair and restore damaged joint tissue.
University of Phoenix is awarding up to $1 million in new scholarships this month. You could earn between $2,000 and $3,000 in a non-cash tuition scholarship. See which one you may qualify for at phoenix.edu.
According to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. That means that 82% of you listening right now will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. If you're hiring, 82% of you will recall that ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster and easier. And 82% of you will note that you can try ZipRecruiter for free today. But you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio, like where this ad plays. 82% of you will keep in mind that ZipRecruiter's technology finds qualified people for your job and actively invites them to apply.
Scott, is that you? Who are you talking to?
82% of you will also know that I live with my mom. But the most important thing to note is that ZipRecruiter works. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Will you be part of the 82% who remember where you can try ZipRecruiter for free? It's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Again, that exclusive link is ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Yes, radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Get serious. Get sports here. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It's halftime. You're on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. He's Karl Schoening. I am Rob Thompson, taking you to 2 o'clock. The Blitz will be here at 4 with Jason Minnick and a cavalcade of stars as we unveil today San Antonio Sports Star, a new era in sports broadcasting here in San Antonio. We will bring to you every day 8 hours of live local programming. Starting in the morning at 7 a.m., it is R&R in the morning. Rudy J joins me for 3 hours of fun in the morning, followed right after we go off air with all of the Mike Greenberg Show. Then you get us, Karl and myself, for 2 hours. Then Max Kellerman, you get all of Max, and then we take you right in to Jason Minnick and the Blitz, the legacy show here at ESPN San Antonio, as he gets you ready for all things sports and provides us talk that only Jason Minnick can bring you. We'll make sure that he maintains that great show as we continue on in the future. Thank everybody for joining us today. Make sure you're following us on all the socials. He is Karl Schoening. It's at Karl ESPN. I am at Rob Thompson ESPN. James, pleasure producing us as always. I am pleasure there. You can watch us live. You can get all of your updates at sasports.com, sportstar.com, our website where we broadcast our YouTube feed and our YouTube channel.
It's Karl with a K.
Karl, that's correct. We need to make sure that it is Karl with a K. Karl. You ever watch Walking Dead?
Yes.
Karl.
Yeah, he spells it with a C. I think fictional characters spell with a C, but all the famous ones spell it with a K.
A little bit behind the scenes, Karl Schoening walks the studios with a bucket of water, the likes of which that most human beings don't carry around. It is how much water is in that, Karl?
116 ounces if I fill it up to the top of the markers.
So you drink what? So that's 116. You finish what? 4 of those a day?
I try to get through at least 1.5.
We're going to have to invest and get you one of those camelbacks. You seen the camelback thing? A little backpack. You can just have a little hose and you can just kind of.
Yeah. Those are great for hiking. This thing is, because I am notorious for losing water bottles, I'm not losing this thing. It is just too big to misplace.
I appreciate on Karl's giant bottle of water. It has little phrases to keep you going as you try to drain it throughout the day. So that first part, what does it say when the first drink is a good morning?
It says good morning, 7 a.m.
So you drink that on the way to the bathroom.
At 9 a.m., hydrate yourself. 11 a.m., remember your goal, which I guess is to drink a lot of water. 1 p.m., so it gets you kind of just, this is where you should be throughout the day. If you're drinking from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., the final one says you did it. Obviously almost finished, don't give up, feeling awesome at 3 p.m. if you get all the way there. Sometimes I do need to take big gulps because I'm behind. I tend to stay ahead of my hydration. I need to. I'm certified in nutrition as a coach.
Was it Tom Herman at Texas that had those pictures up at the bathroom that graded the color of your pee?
Yep.
The clearer it was, the better teammate you were.
That's a good thing to have, because I think college students most don't know that lesson yet. Be hydrated.
Well, I mean, there's a little water in beer, right? There's a little water in
Just
that in those White Claws. So you're also a certified yoga instructor.
That's correct.
How does one become that? And better, why?
It's my favorite form of fitness. If you're going all the way back, I used to be a board op across town, and I did the morning show, and the only thing that actually kept me from crashing on I-35 is if I did some kind of physical activity during the day, during the show at least. So I did yoga while the show was going on.
You were doing yoga while producing a show?
Yeah, I let the other guy talk, and I was focusing in on the show. Like, I was right there where Pledge is.
Would you teach a class? Would you teach a yoga class to, say, R&R in the morning and to the Blitz? If we set up a camera, could you teach the Star crew some of the basic moves?
I'll put y'all through the ringer.
Is that a move, the ringer?
No, it's definitely gonna get you going though.
If I'm in a yoga class And let's say that I'm stretching and I am finding my zen and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know what they all have, like all the stretches have names, right?
Oh yeah.
Like
It's in Sanskrit and we have English translations.
let's say I was like, give me a yoga move that would be for like beginners. What was something that I would what's the name of it? Like what's the first thing you would teach me?
Downward dog is probably
See, that's a weird name. See, if you're gonna get new people to join, the first move to teach shouldn't be the downward dog.
Adho Mukha Svanasana. That's how you say it in Sanskrit.
Okay, that's actually better than downward dog. So I would learn the Amos whatever. Let's say that I was doing, and what is the downward facing dog?
It's essentially you're stretching your entire backside, your hamstrings, your calves, your heels, your lats. You're getting a good push away from the ground.
So basically, I'm bending over and touching my toes. Is that kind of what it is?
That's a forward fold.
A forward fold.
Uttanasana.
What? What is it again?
Uttanasana.
So if I'm learning the forward fold or the downward facing dog, are you frowned upon for? I'm trying to find the best way to put this.
Everyone farts.
That's where we were, because I have this great fear. Like I'm in this room with a bunch of people, and I'm into it. Like I'm a competitive sort. I want to do it right. But if I stretch the wrong way and you get a little, little toad action, is that expected? Is it like would that be considered a positive thing?
Only you can control your own embarrassment. But I don't think anybody's going to say anything if you let one rip in the middle of a class.
Is there a particular move that is more conducive to that? That that if we do this one, there's gonna be some tooting going on in your class.
Happy baby.
The happy baby, appropriately named. And what exactly is that?
It's where you're on your back. You try to keep your tailbone onto the mat, and you bring your knees sort of close to your chest, and your feet kind of spread out and grabbed by your hands. The knees are bent. It's hard to explain, I guess.
I just don't know if I could do all that in public.
Sure, a lot of people do practice at home.
So you have to practice at home. Would I need like special pants?
Anything comfortable. I wear.
Do you have yoga
shorts?
pants?
I have. I have something that I wear shorts over. I don't wear just straight yoga pants. Like it's just sort of.
Do you do a shirt? Do you do it like shirtless?
I used to when I did hot yoga.
Hot yoga.
What's
that?
It's basically where the room is 90 something degrees. Sometimes it gets up to over 100 because of all the body heat, and it's just varied temperature.
Sweating and stretching and farting going on in there.
Probably. Oh yeah. Nothing but I'm drenched in sweat by the end of it. You'll see.
I've heard
that
I'm done with all this. I've heard that yoga is very physically demanding, even though it's just basically a bunch of stretching.
It's very accessible, but that doesn't mean it's easy.
When did you get into it?
Like I said, when I was waking up early, I probably, very first time I ever did it, P90X. I was on
that TV thing?
Yeah. Okay. You've seen the infomercials. The hardest workout is the yoga workout. You do 45 minutes of that hour and a half yoga class, and you call quits, basically. That is just the hardest workout. And there's a lot of hard workouts in P90X, but you'll think, oh, it's yoga. Okay. And that guy just turns it up to an 11. It is a hard workout.
James, Rudy, are you guys down for like a weekly or a daily yoga class?
I already work out an hour and a half a day every day before work.
No, that's not yoga though.
Pledge would be good at it, I bet. You guys might get a little shock to the system.
Why wouldn't I be good at it? Is it because I'm just not flexible?
Flexibility is not a prereq, but if you are not somebody who's physically active, Pledge will probably be okay.
So what are you trying to say?
Are you working out an hour and a half a day like Pledge is?
Well, it depends on what working out.
I'm not doing it, to be honest. I'm a little out of shape in my yogis. COVID threw me off. I'm actually feeling some effects these days. The key is, the real key is it's an aerobic exercise. So if you don't breathe, your sort of anaerobic threshold gets met, and you're going to feel your muscles tighten up and lose energy on you.
My anaerobic threshold is often met. And I do endeavor to breathe. We are going to do yoga here at the Star.
All right.
I cannot wait for this.
Let's get it sponsored. There's plenty of yoga studios in town.
No, I think that we need to get Jason Minix a full-on yoga. Where can we go get yoga attire?
Nike actually has Kevin Love launched as one of their guys.
Lululemon.
A Lululemon's one?
Does Lululemon have a tall and fat section? Can I go find like Lululemon?
It's pretty expensive, but I bet they do.
Do they have a
I've never actually gone into the stores. I've seen their prices.
Do
but
I
hear
have
they're
to wear
worth it.
shoes, or is it a barefoot thing when you're doing yoga?
I highly, highly recommend barefoot because shoes are evil. I have a whole spiel about how shoes are just some of the worst inventions of mankind. They serve their purpose at times, but they've actually, the foot health in America, because we're born and raised in shoes, is really bad. And I go on and try and correct that in my class.
By how?
Lift and spread your toes. It activates your arches because our shoes sort of keep our muscles along our metatarsals down there not so active.
That's a good word.
Mm-hmm. The little bones that create your feet. So if you're lifting and spreading your feet, your toes, you're activating your arches and you're creating a wider base for your foot, and it's better balance too.
Activating your arches. That's what we do here at halftime. We activate your arches by lifting and spreading your toes. He is Karl Schoening. I am Rob Thompson. We got the Stars Summer Cash keyword is coming around the corner. You want to win $1,000. Continue listening to the Star. We're going to give you a keyword. And when you hear that keyword, you go to sasportstar.com. That's our website. And you enter that keyword, and we're going to give it to you at 7, 10, 1, 4, and 6 o'clock. One's coming your direction. You lucky devils are on the Star. And this is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Score $1,000 in summer cash. Enter the winning keyword, home run, HOMERUN, home run at sasportstar.com. Good luck from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Sports Center is brought to you by Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds. Available at H-E-B.
I'm James Pledger, and the U.S. men's Olympic team went 2-2 in their exhibition matches as they finished it up in their final game before Tokyo with an 83-76 win over Spain. Spurs forward Keldon Johnson, who was promoted to the team on Friday, scored 15 points on 7-9 shooting and was a team best plus 18 in the win. In the NFL, the Cowboys cut cornerback Rashard Robinson ahead of training camp, who was set to serve a 2-game suspension for violating the league's PED policy. Finally, in Major League Baseball, the Astros dropped their rubber game with the Chicago White Sox 4-0. They now return home to open up a series with the Cleveland Indians, with first pitch set for 7:10 tonight, while the Texas Rangers got swept by the Blue Jays, falling 5-0 and 10-0 in their doubleheader yesterday. They now head to Detroit to open up a series with the Tigers starting tonight at 6:10, a game you can catch right here. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490.
Prescription products require an online consultation. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
My husband's ED was affecting our marriage. When he first started experiencing ED, it was difficult for both of us. We didn't know who to talk to about it or where to get help. HIMSS was our answer. HIMSS connected my husband with a licensed provider online. He was able to get medication to treat his ED at a fraction of the price people pay for the name brand. It was delivered to our door, and guess what? Our sex life is back. It works.
Right now, get your first online provider's visit totally free when you go to forhims.com/love. Yep, free. No copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Just the care you need.
Thanks to HIMSS, we got our sex life and our marriage back.
To start your free online visit, go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/love. That's forhims.com/love for your free online visit. forhims.com/LOVE.
Don't miss the savings during Lowe's Just for Pros event. Stop by the Pro Desk and get an extra 5% off volume savings orders over $1,500. Plus, look for more savings across the store, including tools, paint, lighting, and other pro essentials to help you get the job done right. Shop today at Lowe's, the new home for pros. Discount on eligible product only and reflected in quote. Terms and exclusions apply. See Pro Desk in store for details. Now through July 30th. U.S. only.
Progressive Motorcycle presents Road Wisdom from the Motor.
Half man, half motorcycle.
You grab life with both hands, and you grab your bike with both hands. Therefore, bike is life.
Figuratively speaking.
Progressive Motorcycle also presents Roadside Assistance. Progressive Motorcycle, for those who were born to ride. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
How can I make sure my office never stops working?
With Staples Connect, it's possible. I need to keep my back office stocked without messing up my bottom line. Also possible because Staples Connect has your small business covered with big savings on everything you need to get work done. This week, earn 30% back in a Staples store bonus when you buy any 2 ink cartridges, including HP. Explore what's new at your local Staples or staplesconnect.com. Staples Connect, the working and learning store. Limit 4, in-store only. Visit staplesconnect.com/store bonus for details. And 724.
What are you going to do when your air conditioning breaks? What are you going to do when your plumbing breaks? Well, I'll tell you what I do. I call Service First AC and Plumbing. I've got their number in my phone for an emergency. And I'll tell you what, when your air conditioning breaks or your plumbing's leaking, that is an emergency. When you dial that one touch, you're going to get family-owned and operated service from here in San Antonio for over 14 years. Service First AC and Plumbing is fast, reliable, proactively, and most importantly, I trust them. They've come out to my home and saved me more than once. Service First AC and Plumbing. Put this number in your phone, 210-521-1500. Again, 210-521-1500. Save the number before you need it because you're going to need it. It's not a matter of if, but when. When your AC goes down in your home or your business, you know you need to get it fast. You need to call a first responder, the likes of which that Service First and AC and Plumbing is. The number is 521-1500. I trust them. You should too. They've taken care of me many times. When that emergency comes, there's one number to know. That's Service First AC and Plumbing, 521-1500.
Diamonds Direct takes value to a whole new level with a spectacular summer store-wide sale. Get ready. It's July 21st through the 25th. 5 days of extra savings. 20% off Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable prices. A multi-million-dollar selection of rings, earrings, bands, and bracelets. Virtually everything's on sale. Plus, top jewelry designers are flying in with all new collections. The buying opportunity of the year. Extra savings store-wide. Mark your calendar. July 21st through 25th only. And only at Diamonds Direct, official jeweler of the Dallas Cowboys, at the shops at La Cantera.
Here's pitch. W Power. W Fun. W Rangers Pleasure. The explosive action happens here on the official home plate of the Texas Rangers. ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This is Jason Minix on your home for Cowboys football. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It's halftime on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. He's Karl Schoening. I'm Rob Thompson. We make up halftime. We're about to head into the radio sunset. Max Kellerman's coming up. Got 2 hours of Max. And then Jason Minix and the Blitz will carry on as they have on this KZDC call-lettered station for over 10 years now. The Blitz still remains. Jason Minix, the pillar of our broadcast day, will take you from 4 to 6 tonight, as he'll be out a little bit early for your Texas Rangers coverage. And don't forget, all week long, we'll keep you covered and keep you informed with a variety of shows. The Post Up, our basketball anthology with Brandon Medina and Jack Thompson. You get that on a weekly.
As you know, billionaires eventually. Difficult to do that from Portland, I think.
That's Max Kellerman. This is what we do. This is a soft opening. This is why we're going through the we're just running the road, making sure everything's tightened as the paint is drying. The star we unveiled today, and we're gonna have stuff like this. Make sure you're following us on the socials. We're graded on that at Karl ESPN. That's with a K. I am at Rob Thompson ESPN. He is I Am Pleasure. During the morning, make sure you're following the R&R with myself and Rudy J on all the socials. Our website, its name has changed. We are now sasportstar.com, though the old call letters will get you there as well. 8 hours of local programming, a brand new day in San Antonio sports talk history. We're going to give you every bit of the local coverage that so many of people have reached out for us over the years. They want to get more local, more personal coverage for the sports that we get, and we've endeavored to do that.
Yeah, I think we're also having podcasts in the works. I definitely want to get into all the little corners and crevices. I have broadcasted a ton of small San Antonio sports teams you might not have heard of, such as the San Antonio Warriors.
And who are they?
They were in the Big South Football League. They've been around forever. Coach Glenn White has coached 17 years in this city with the San Antonio Warriors. He's won several championships. He is actually in this town, San Antonio. Glenn White has the most wins of any semi-professional coach in the entire state of Texas. There you go.
How many other semi-professional coaches are there?
Tons. Oh, so many. It's such a world that I've only scratched the surface because they've paid me to be out there.
On your bucket list of live events to do play-by-play for, what would be the first and foremost? What was the one thing that you'd like to call?
I've wanted to say the Super Bowl, honestly. I think the Super Bowl would be cool. Just anybody. NCAA Final Four would be cool. NBA Finals. But I think if I had to pick one, Super Bowl's probably the one. That's an American holiday.
It actually is.
Yeah.
An American holiday. And we are live from the Super Bowl every year. The Star will maintain. Coming up with Max Kellerman, we're going to get all of the shows that you're accustomed to. You're going to get Max Kellerman for its full 2 hours. We didn't want to take that away from you. But as we progress through this, the Star will be, we intend to be your touch point for all things Dallas Cowboys, all things Texas Rangers and Houston Astros, all things Texas Longhorn, all things Texas A&M Fighting Aggies, and local sports as well. UTSA will have the coach trailer for you on the regular, as we always have. Steve Henson, basketball coach, will be with us, and we'll make sure you're getting everything you need from IWU, as well as we cover local sports. You're not going to tune in to us anymore and hear a couple of guys yelling. We want to entertain and inform, and that is our plan. The halftime with Karl Schoening, Jason Minix with the Blitz at 4 o'clock, and R&R in the morning. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. For all you giggers, for anybody out there driving around delivering, I want you to jump on the Twitters, reach out to us. We want to know what we can do for you. Halftime is in the books. Kellerman's coming in, then the Blitz. Thanks for hanging with us.
Emotion. There are few places in the broadcast